Hey there, Laker fans. Welcome to another episode of Lakers Detailed. I am your host, Vinay, with my co-host, Raj. We are doing this on a Friday night because you are going to be a busy man this weekend. Last week, I was a busy man playing at a basketball tournament, which I'll give everybody a nice update about in a second. Not too much news going on, Raj, with the Lakers stuff. Schedule has been released. Lakers look like they have a schedule where they might start off kind of hot, maybe 7-3, maybe 8-2. If we get lucky, we get like a 9-1 start. But there's some tough teams in there. And today I thought maybe we would take some of the mailbag questions that we got when I posted about the episode and maybe just discuss some of the stuff that's been happening on the timeline. Obviously, these are the dog days of the summer. And we've been getting a lot of different LeBron stories, and then you get some stuff about trades that might happen and how many wins, like some of the folks mentioning in the chat, how many wins are the Lakers going to get with this new schedule? There's a bunch of stuff going on, but people are trying to find things to talk about. So we're going to find stuff to talk about that's productive. But before we get into that, how are you doing, my friend?
I am doing well.
You had quite a week. You had quite a week on Twitter. So I should ask, how are you doing?
Yeah, I've tweeted like 5 times this week, and somehow like 3 of them. But no, I'm good. As you said, tomorrow I leave for this is my 3rd Vegas trip in 4 weeks.
You're an animal, dude.
So it's
You're an animal.
an insane. It's usually how it goes for this time of the year. But no, I'm good. Yeah, my close friend Kevin Durant, I guess, is coming at me with. But no, I'm good. Dog days of summer are definitely here. I would recommend people go check out the Sparks, who've been playing well. They're winning now. They've won, I believe, like 8 of 10 or something like that. They're on a pretty good win streak and have a chance at the playoffs. So if you're looking for basketball, that's a good place to get an entry point into a team that's playing well. But you're right, Vinay. We got about 2 months of stagnation here. The schedule came out, and you get the hoorah of people breaking it down. And I think we can start here. I put very little energy into a schedule drop. I think it's because, and this is my theory, I'll let you go, I'm going to watch every game anyway. And so I don't know, looking at what road trip it is, or a little different now because I'm going to more games, but still, I don't know, 3 months away, I can't get deep into a schedule breakdown, how many back-to-backs, all that stuff. I feel like it evens out mostly around the league, but yeah, I feel like that's been a hot topic lately. But how are you, man?
I'm doing good. Last weekend we did not pod. I was at a basketball tournament, a yearly basketball tournament that I go to. We went 2-1 on the first day.
Okay.
We won our first round of the playoffs. We won the quarterfinal game in the playoffs, and then we lost in the semifinals. So if we had won 2 more times, we would have won the championship in the division that we played in. We were unable to be successful. We were shorthanded. We had 7 guys on the team intentionally, and then we lost 2 guys on the first day. So we were like even more shorthanded. And I don't have the physical capacity to play every minute of like 7 games of basketball in 2 days. So our whole team was gassed, but it was a lot of fun. But as a result of that, Raj, I got tested for COVID. I tested positive for COVID on Tuesday.
Okay.
And so like, I've just been like, I don't know if you guys can hear it. There are folks that like, I've got like congestion a little bit. Like I've come out of it. Like I feel much better now, but like on Monday and Tuesday, it was like a slog, dude. Like I was like, I'd fall asleep for like an hour, wake up, do some work, and then fall back to sleep for an hour. So it's just, that tournament took a toll, and but it was a lot of fun. And so as the young kids say, I was outside last weekend.
Touch grass.
And I touched grass, touch hardwood. But it was a lot of fun. But yeah, I saw some Laker news kind of popping around. I saw some Laker topics popping around. We should get to the most important topic, which is Kevin Durant, friend of the show, friend of Lakers Detailed, decided to respond to your question. I know you have repeatedly, you and I have discussed this. You've always wanted to ask him basketball questions and see what his answers would be. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the 2nd time or 3rd time?
2nd time, yes.
He's responded to your basketball questions. And it's been very fun to see because He's been going after all kinds of people over other stuff, which we don't have to get into. But in the sea of trolling and sarcasm and jokes and whatever he decides to do when he's in the mood on Twitter, he always finds time to answer your basketball questions. And what I especially like the very most, which is near and dear to my heart, Raj, because I'm always heavily invested in your success and visibility, is that he complimented you publicly, Raj.
Yeah, I didn't have to do that.
This is a top 10 NBA player on Twitter saying, "I love the way you think about the game." And I was just like, what do you know? That's the guy that I do a podcast with about Lakers basketball on a weekly basis. So I thought that was really awesome for you to get that. And I also want to shout out our guy, another friend of the show, Eddie Bansky of the No Narratives Playback. We chat all the time. I've gone on his, I go on his or his stream all the time and chat about different stuff. He was able to hook it up with his Adidas reps, and I got a pair of Anthony Edwards ones, which I have wanted to try for a while, and I was able to wear them at the tournament. So they're really comfortable, really great shoes. So I want to shout out Eddie, shout out KD. But Raj, what do you do with this newfound celebrity? Like, what do you like? You walk like. Does your mom how does she respond to you? Does she have to look at you different? She tell you she was proud of you like the way Indian moms always do?
My mom had no clue about this, so I did not share this to my mom at all. What's funny, before I get into that, shout out Bands who's been on our show.
Yes.
I've hopped in a few times, and I think I've hopped in when I have no idea really what's going on. So they were watching this show called King of the Court.
King's Court. Yeah, dude, that's Court. A great show.
So I thought it was a basketball show, and it is it is not a basketball show. Carlos Boozer is on it, and some other players are on it. Let's just say, yeah, it has nothing to do with basketball. So
it's great.
I really had nothing to contribute to the playback chat there. But yeah, go tune into No Narratives. No, I was telling you before we went live, Vinay, that that was the most my phone has blown up, which I find interesting. I posted it on Instagram, and people from middle school and
awesome,
people who followed me the whole time were like, "Oh, holy crap! Oh, you really this is really something you're doing." I was like, "Yeah, you've been following me the whole time." Family, friends who haven't spoke to me in 6-7 years reached out as well. I find
it's like you won the lottery.
Yeah, it's I find it interesting what people kind of gravitate or resonate with. You said top 10, and I just thought about it, how that's top 10 all time, not top 10 current. That's probably Kevin Durant's probably top 10 all time, and he chooses to spend his leisure time online, which I just find extremely fascinating. And so whenever he's in battles that I believe are just beneath Kevin Durant in general, I just don't think Kevin Durant needs to go and defend his legacy against people who will who don't even have a real name online. Their last name is 674 or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I just love him.
Some Muse
or
account.
Muse or Shea Muse or whatever it is that he's arguing with. Nothing against any of those people. Whatever your relationship to basketball is wonderful. But so I try to lob him just regular questions, Vinay, about basketball, because I do think that's something he's generally into, and I think he's appreciated. So appreciate it, Kevin Durant, for the week I've had.
Yeah.
And yeah, whenever you are in a war on the timeline, I'll lob you some actual hoop questions.
Just break up the stream of insults that are hitting his mentions, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was a very cool moment. And of course, I hope you continue to have moments like that. Not only on social media, but also when you're in the building with other players and stuff like that. Anything else? Any other cool things happening to you?
Any other cool things? No, I think that's it for the. Well, I don't remember when our last show was. I don't even know what day it is. August 15th. Yeah, we got a few weeks, Vinay, before. It's so weird how the schedule is released. We get these few days playing the in-season tournament games got released, but I vow, Vinay, this time that the Lakers make it to the in-season tournament. I'm hoping you'll join me on this.
Yes.
We make the trek, or flight, whatever it is, over to Las Vegas, and
Oh yeah,
we go tune in.
yeah. If they make it to the Vegas games, we're there, dude. I'm there. I need any reason. It doesn't even have to be a good reason. Any reason to go. Basketball is the best reason for me to go to Vegas. So
Sure.
that totally works out for me. So yeah, so like there really hasn't been a lot of news outside of the schedule release, and like you said, I'm probably in the same space that you are, where like I'm not like trying to cut up the schedule so much and try to figure out what it is. I think you and I both have like the same rule, which is essentially the same mantra when it comes to the schedule, which is if you're the Lakers, stack up your wins in October, November, December, so then we're not trying to kill ourselves in February, March, April or March, April, May before the playoffs start for seeding and stuff like that. If you do your work early, you don't have to. You can coast a little bit later, and that kind of helps out the stars in the late run and whatnot.
The Lakers usually have a easy front-loaded schedule, right? I think that's in general the case. Every year we get someone, or the analysis of it is, they have 15 games against teams who didn't make the playoffs last year, and then that obviously changes because teams are better than you think or worse. Yep. But that's kind of how I see every year. And then somehow the Lakers are 8-4 or something like that when it starts, and then the big road trips come up because of the Grammys and stuff like that. But I don't know, Vinay. I've just been doing this long enough where the schedule just looks the same to me every single year.
Some tough teams,
doesn't change much.
Yeah. So we won't dwell too much on the schedule stuff, but I do want to talk about some basketball fit and potential stuff. So let's talk about the first topic that has kind of been perusing. I've seen it pop up here and there in different corners of Lakers Twitter. I know it wasn't a debate, but it was a conversation in the Sicko chat, the big chat that we have with the Coaches Den guys, about how close the Lakers are to being a contender. Now, we know that the Western Conference in general is going to be hell. It's always going to be hell. OKC is a good team. They're pretty much as is. Denver, you could argue, has gotten better. Houston clearly has gotten better. Minnesota made some tweaks here. They'll be relying on their younger guys. Phoenix probably dropped off. Memphis losing Bane. We don't know what's going to happen with them. But you could argue maybe the Clippers got better too, adding Bradley Beal too as well. And obviously the Lakers got better too themselves as well. We expect Spurs. Anyways, the whole point is a lot of different teams have gotten up and down. There might be musical chairs of who's a top 8 team and who's not a top 8 team in the West. But one thing is for sure, the Western Conference is going to be hell. All divisional games will be hell, and within the conference games are going to be hell. But there's this conversation that's kind of like going around, Raj, that I thought would be fun for us to discuss, which is not seeding wise, right? Not first seed, top 4 seed, top 3 seed, not like that. But how close are the Lakers to contention as currently built? Because right now, there's a lot of, every now and then, there's a few folks who decide to make Andrew Wiggins a conversation because that was a name that was linked to the Lakers. Now, before I finish my question to you, I want to make it very clear that I am pretty sure, and this is me saying this, I am pretty sure, I am like 99% confident that the Andrew Wiggins to the Lakers idea came from Lakers Detailed. And that idea came back in about the month of May, long before any news of Andrew Wiggins being attached to the Lakers or being of interest to the Lakers came up. I know it's an idea that I presented to you, Raj, on one of our pods. The folks that are the detailers that watch the stream with regularity know exactly when that happened. I don't know how this Andrew Wiggins thing took so much life and became like, obviously I would assume people watch, maybe that's just the idea is planted in their brains and now it becomes a conversation. I don't know how everybody else became like an authority as to why Andrew Wiggins is the piece that leads us to contention. I just know where it originated from. I know you and I talked about it, and then we went and talked to our guys, the Coaches Den guys, and we presented the idea to them to get like some more feedback on if if the fit would make sense, because that's a smart thing to do when you're scouting players. But now it's become like this thing, Raj, where it's like Andrew Wiggins or bust. Like, oh, if you don't get Andrew Wiggins, there's no way you're winning a championship. Like, it's just not possible that you're going to win a championship. And I personally, I I probably disagree with that. I don't think it's Andrew Wiggins or bust. I definitely do think you need a great defender like him who has like the physical profile that he has. But I don't think like without him, you can't reach a contention status. So that brought up the larger question that I wanted to ask you. How far are we from being like a contender? Meaning like in the NBA finals. Let's forget winning the NBA finals because you need a lot of luck for that to happen. But just getting to the NBA finals, are we really that much farther away with the roster presently built?
Yeah, and so just on the Wiggins stuff, like I don't know exactly where it originated. I would say that if you canvass the league, I think there's a reason why that name just becomes very attractive, right? Just finding an athletic wing that's two-way, I think you could say two-way,
Yeah.
that's available. At Wiggins and Cam Johnson maybe was available. I mean, like the names are pretty slim, and I think that's why it's very easy to kind of gravitate to him. At least the idea of him, right? I took Wiggins around I didn't take him physically. I took the name Andrew Wiggins physically around, theoretically around in Vegas. People are like, well, that's who he was 3 seasons ago, right? You are really counting on a return to form to a player that he hasn't really been for a while. But again, I think it's an attractive name, and it's someone that I think at the time, I don't remember my original answer, but I believe I came to the point was I would have traded not the whole farm, but what we had to go get Wiggins, because I think the fit is so clean. But the part that I struggle with, and we've had very colored conversations about this offline, but Luka Doncic looks incredible. He's
amazing.
Looks in the best shape of his life. He's also 27 years old. And just the bar of what you need around a player that I think both of us would agree would be top 2, top 3 at worst, just in terms of best player in the league.
If Luka was in this shape right now and in the Dallas jersey, people would be saying he's a top 3 player in the NBA, like coming up this season. So I don't see any reason why we shouldn't say that he is one now.
If they beat Boston that year, obviously that's a big if, and he had a part to do with why they lost. But I mean, 3 wins away from him being parroted as the best player in the league, I would say at that point. Very clearly, I think right behind Nikola Jokic. So that's where I'm like, is the roster perfect? No. Are there tweaks needed? I think some of the players on the roster get unfairly kind of grouped in this group of they're not helpful at all, just because of how the roster was last year in terms of just such a need at the center position. Kind of, I think, exacerbated a lot of the roles of the other players like Rui and those guys. But I think we're pretty close. We're not favorites in any sense, but the idea that you have a top 2 player in the league on a roster that we would both say improved on a 50 win team. I think that's as close to contender as you can get without saying favorite. So that's kind of the middle, and it's not a fun conversation. It's kind of awkward to explain it in a way where everyone's like, well, then why don't you just go give the first round pick? And you have to kind of give the context of, well, we want to wait, see what happens with LeBron kind of stuff and his decision. The quotes that continue to come out don't give a lot of answers. But in any case, I think they're right there if this is the roster that's moving forward and the players kind of perform how we think they do. But yeah, I mean, they're not the favorite. They're not going to be favored to win the title this year over Oklahoma City or even Denver, who got Cam Johnson this summer. But they're right there, Vinay. You put them in any of these series, I say they have a chance to win. That's kind of where I'm at. Where are you with this?
Yeah, I think they're way closer to contention than people are expecting. And I think like the concerns that you and I have are like when we say they're like minor tweaks, we mean like maybe a minor personnel change. Like take the more offensive guy out for a more defensive guy, like swap that sort of thing. But that defensive guy doesn't necessarily have to be like, if he could be an Andrew Wiggins type defender, that's like the very best. Like that's the highest percentile player that you can get. But if you get something slightly lower than that, I think that's also great too. Like if we can find something between Jared Vanderbilt and Andrew Wiggins, I think that would be an improvement. Like I think that'd be a good person to add to the roster. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I think there's this thing where there's also this thing that's happening right now, Raj, with I think the Lakers fan base, and it's not Lakers fan base, but just with Lakers fans on Twitter, that there's been no names. There's no new names floating around, right? Like usually in the offseason, there's always like, well, this guy could be an option, or this guy could be an option, this guy could be an option. And like for the past couple of weeks, there has been no options. Like there's been none. You haven't heard of anybody. Nobody's written about anybody, nothing like that. Nobody's linked because obviously it's a dead zone. Like this is not a time of year where that sort of stuff happens.
Sure.
And so I think people just don't know like what kind of players it can be. Like we'll offer ideas, right? Like if it was Andrew Wiggins, I offered you the Dylan Brooks idea. And I was like, what if we went after a guy like Dylan Brooks and he's willing to come off the bench, or Marcus Smart's willing to come off the bench, that sort of thing. Like we could come up with stuff. And again, don't be shocked. Dylan Brooks' name does come up eventually at some point, but like we can offer different names that we may or may not know about that are of interest to the Lakers, but it's just a matter of, trying to understand what the medium is. And I feel like because there's no names, the fan base is like, oh, we're so far away from contention because we didn't get that one guy. We're so far away. But I think you and I both said that like when we signed Marcus Smart for nothing, I was like, that's a pretty good ad. Like even if he's like 70% of like the guy that we want him to be, that's really good because we didn't really have a guy who could do that and be a floor leader and stuff like that defensively. So I think we're much closer to contention. I will say a big component, you tell me if I'm wrong. A big component of this is people underrating how good DeAndre Ayton is going to be for the Lakers. Like I don't think people understand. You have a guy who can with Chris Paul, he was like a 20 and 10 guy, 18 and 10 or whatever he was averaging at the time. I say 20 and 10 because that's like the old school number that all the bigs used to have. Like with Luka, like, and the Lakers spacing on offense and just the kind of offense that they run and the advantages he creates, forget his averages. You have a guy who could potentially do that on a nightly basis. Obviously, there's not enough shots to go around, so he's not going to get 20 a night without it sacrificing somebody else. But my main point is, I think Ayton, people are vastly, vastly underrating how much of an improvement he is at that position for the Lakers. And I think that's what's going to be the biggest difference for us.
Why do you think the skepticism is so high with him? What do you think it is? Because I think he's polarizing extremely. I think people are on the spectrum of he's going to be, a 15 and 12 guy, and there's another one that really question how much the motor and all that translates, even with a better team and more pressure due to contract. But what would you say the skepticism is really living on for him? Because I'm with you. I think he's going to have a big year. I do think a lot of eggs are in the Ayton basket, right? Yes. Where if it, again, I'm not saying it's going to do this, but if Ayton doesn't work out, I do think that's a huge hamper to the roster, because I think a lot of this is built around having him as a starting center, especially his talent level, kind of reaching what his potential can be or has been in the past. You just mentioned with Chris Paul in Phoenix, Laker fans got a front row view of it, right? In a playoff series, he was awesome. As much as the series was decided because of AD's injury, Ayton was incredible those games. So what do you think the skepticism kind of lives on with that?
I think he's had some really bad PR post Suns. So he goes to the finals with the Suns. He gets paid. The famous quote that he had before he got paid was, "My goal is just to get to the second contract."
Right.
Because okay, like for the people who feel some type of way about him saying that, surprise, every single NBA player says the same thing. They just don't say it out loud. Every single NBA player, every agent, you ask Austin Reeves' agent right now, his goal is to get Austin the biggest possible contract that he possibly can now. Like he's not waiting for he's going to take 2 years and opt out the third year and then he'll get even. But no, he's not doing that.
No,
he's getting the biggest contract that he could possibly get now. The second contract or third contract, whatever it is, depending on what the scheduling is of your rookie deal. That is the most important contract for many, many non-superstar tier players, because that's the biggest contract they'll ever get. And that's what it was for Ayton. And Ayton was a top pick. So I can understand it is what it is for him. But he was also a talented player. like what he said
Sure.
didn't diminish the fact that he was a starting and like he made it to the NBA finals as a starting center. And I think the skepticism, I understand the skepticism about his complacency as a player. Motor is the word that we use. He has a little bit of a complacent motor. I've tried to explain it away as he's a moody big, and a lot of big men tend to be that way. And you guys can watch one of the previous pods to understand what that explanation is supposed to be. But I wonder if he's gotten a little bit of bad PR post that because of that. And obviously he was giving himself nicknames. Then he gets traded to the Blazers. And on the Blazers, they're just like a mess. They don't know what they're doing. By the way, Blazers just sold, I think, to some team.
Yeah.
Somebody just bought them. I forgot who it was. But like that's one of those things where it's like, I wonder if the perception of him has made him look worse than he actually is. Because I did watch some of those Portland games and I was just like, oh, he's not bad, dude. Like he's pretty good. Like they're winning games with him. And
when he's
so,
motivated, he's a monster. Like go watch Portland Phoenix games.
Yeah.
That's not the same Ayton you're getting, on a Tuesday against Charlotte.
Yeah.
But you watch him play against Phoenix,
Yeah.
he's extremely motivated and is going at them with the level of aggression. And so that's one of my concerns with DeAndre Ayton. Neil saying he's averaging 16 and 10. He might, but I think some of the concerns, at least a little bit, are valid. The Suns, tenure was over 2 seasons ago now. So, we're going into season 2025. I think there are some valid concerns to, is the motor there? Is the defensive energy still there? Is he still, motivated to play defense in that way that he did in Phoenix? That's just something we have not seen in, 2-3 years from DeAndre Ayton. And now he was playing on a, poor team in Portland. He even has a quote coming out saying it's tough to be focused as a winner, on a team where not everyone's, trying to win. The organization is publicly kind of tanking. And, I do think there's some concerns there. But, if you can't make it work on a Luka Doncic level team, you're not going to make it anywhere. And that's where I think he'll have a good year. But I do think there's still some concerns in terms of the defensive motor, in terms of the does he still want to take a bunch of mid-range jump shots, right? And that's something that he'll do frequently. He'll settle and take a lot of mid-range shots, even when he has the physical advantage over players, and I just think there are some concerns there. And again, there's a lot of eggs being put on the Ayton basket, but I'm with you. I think he'll have, a positive season. I think there is some stuff where it's like, man, does he need to take 10 mid-range jump shots a game, or is he going to be the rim protector that he was in Phoenix and things like that? But I've seen him, Vinay, be an extremely polarizing player online. You'll find people think he'll, have a case for an all-star, dub, or there's people who think that this is going to go terribly. George was mentioning, Dwight Howard in whatever season that was. This I think is a little different because someone was in the chat mentioning he's only making $8 million. So the bet is real. The risk is very low from a salary standpoint, but I think from a just organizationally team standpoint, Ayton needs to be good, right? Like for the Lakers to be anything this year, Ayton has to be a positive player in some manner. So we'll see, but I'm high on him. I find the concerns interesting when you listen to Portland people who've said he's been a great leader with them. He took who's their big man under his wing? Klingon, yes, took him under his wing, and was a really nice mentor to him. But yeah, you're hoping the contract year cynically kind of helps in this as well. But I do think some of the concerns are valid, Vinay, where it's like, this is a guy that was on a bad team for a while, and it's tough to kind of break those habits, right? And I think you see some of that when players kind of jump from a bad team to a good team. But I think overall, obviously, I think it's a great ad. I find it interesting. He's extremely polarizing. Marcus Smart is similarly polarizing, but not as much as Ayton. But Ayton's 26 still, still extremely young. So we'll see what happens, but
I think the attitude is the only thing. If the attitude is the only thing you could The motor
Yeah.
is the only thing that you can point at, and it's not the ability. That's probably a good thing for the Lakers. That's the way I think of it.
Oh
Like,
yeah, the talent bet is you couldn't get a better talent at that price for sure.
yeah, like you can't get a guy that is able to do what you want him to do for nothing. That has a higher talent level. Yeah, that's the only way I can think of it, because my biggest issue is you're not like, he's not a shot in the dark. You're not throwing a Hail Mary with him. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like if you were trying to, I'm trying to think of like an example of something like Kai Jones, right? Like he's currently unsigned. Like if Kai Jones was like the guy that we got and we're like, oh, he's gonna be our starting center, I was like, all right, this is a little bit of a Hail Mary, like
Sure.
like that we're doing here. No offense to Kai Jones, but Ayton's not that. Ayton has a little
No.
bit more ability. And so like that's my thing. Like I think your floor becomes much better. I think your ceiling gets much better. And I think in general, just people are completely underestimating what even a higher average center is going to do for this Lakers team. And like the comparison I always make is, and again, no offense to those guys, like Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford are good players, but they're not like, they weren't like top picks, you know, like they're
Sure.
very serviceable players. And Gafford is probably like a career backup to some degree. Lively, we'll see where his career takes him, but Ayton's like a starting level center on like maybe 27 other teams in the NBA. So it's just like it's hard to come to that conclusion that we won't be better.
Yeah, because it's tough. Like players like this, it's interesting. It's not about their talent at all, right? And it's an interesting kind of place to be as a player where, the talent is not the question. George mentions D'Angelo Russell. I think similar vein. Ayton's obviously, I think, in a different just talent world at the position he's in. But the only thing you can really look at with a guy like Ayton is his like attitude, his motor, all stuff that are really not really connected with what his ability is. And that's an interesting kind of place to be for a player like DeAndre Ayton. Christian Wood, I don't see them in similar tiers. I think Ayton's just on a different talent level than Christian Wood ever was. Ayton, it's so unique to have a center who's, I think Ayton is 25, 26, maybe 27, that already has the resume that he does, already has started in finals games, was starting for a team that made the finals. Like I just think that it's very rare to get a player like that on the contract that they did. But again, I think he's gonna have a good year. I think there's a lot of positives that come to it. I do think there's a lot of eggs just being put into that basket, because if Ayton doesn't work out, then it's a extreme hole on the team. Once again, you're relying on Jackson Hayes. Christian Koloko moves up, obviously, in the kind of pecking manner if something happens. But overall, again, a guy that Luka Doncic recruited heavily, which was not quietly put. Luka Doncic recruited DeAndre Ayton. That helps as well. And to your point, Vinny, on the ball screen is just you watch Lively and Gafford without Luka, it's extremely different. And so we'll see how Ayton looks this season. Again, Ayton was playing with like very less ball handlers. I don't even know who the point guard was, and I guess Scoot Henderson was kind of the ball handler.
They have Brogdon for a little bit before they traded him, or was that last year? 2 years.
I don't even know if he ever played. Did he? I don't think he played very much though. I'm assuming.
I know he had injuries. He was in and out. But yeah. I think he was there too for a little bit. Who was their other point guard at the time? I don't remember.
Simons. I mean, they had Simons.
Yeah,
but both of those are like scoring guards, and yeah. So I mean, Ayton's very transparent. Came out and said, it's tough to care about winning when the organization doesn't. You can respect that or not, but that I think he's been extremely honest with that, and I'm sure. Vinay, like you said about the contract thing, I think a lot of players also feel that way too. If I'm playing on the Washington Wizards, I'm not picking up full court and locking up defensively. That's just kind of the nature of how players go. But yeah, we'll see what happens with Ayton. I think both of us are super high. I think it's interesting. He's probably the most polarizing player on the Lakers right now. Other than, I don't know, Rui's gotten an interesting summer as well, but yeah, it just feels like Ayton is super polarizing.
Yeah, Rui's been attached to Luka's hip for
Smart
all
guy.
off season. Yeah.
Smart guy.
Obviously, when Luka did the presser, everybody showed up to support the team or support him at the signing and stuff like that. So that was super interesting to see as well. We're getting questions in the chat like what happens if Ayton flops for the Lakers? Like if he flops for the Lakers, that's probably like obviously it's bad for the Lakers, but it'd be like worse for Ayton because like if you can't get it together next to a guy like Luka and LeBron on the same team, like that's you've got way bigger issues than anybody probably expected at that point. Obviously, assuming that he's healthy and whatnot. Um, do you think the Lakers have to? This will be the other like optimal fit question that I have. Do they have to go with Smart over Rui? Like you and I have debated this a little bit, but I think like I'm fully entrenched in the. I know Jovan has mentioned this on his pod too, but like I'm definitely in that boat where I think you have enough offense now.
Mm,
But like, I really do think you need some more guys who are like defense first is my mentality. Now look, Rui might be like, no, I'll play defense. That might be what he tells JJ. But I think defense probably makes the most sense. And
yeah.
making that swap.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Smart should start and will eventually start. I find it interesting if Rui will start just to start the year, like
Hmm.
keep that comfortability, keep some cohesion from last
Hmm.
season. Rui had a really good playoffs, as bad as the Lakers were.
He did.
Shot like 48% from three. Just one of the actual performers. You've mentioned contract year for him as well, and just be able to kind of load manage Smart in a way. I think if you start him, it's tougher to manage him, I would say. But if you bring him on the bench, maybe you can kind of manage his minutes a little bit more. But I hope Smart does start, and I think he starts when the games matter. I'd be
Hmm.
interested to see if that's in the regular season. I would love to know if they want to test out, the last year group with Ayton, basically, right? Luka, Austin, LeBron, Rui with Ayton next to him instead of Jackson Hayes. But I'd be interested, man. I would like to see Smart start. I just can he withstand that for a season would be my question. He's still only 30 years old, but a lot of miles on that. A lot of kind of injuries have piled up. Not big injuries, but
Hmm.
kind of ones that have kind of kept him out here and there in terms of the last two seasons. But I don't think he has to start. I think in the regular season, Renee, they can probably
Hmm.
survive. I mean,
With what's more familiar.
yeah.
Yeah.
Does he have enough? I guess. Do you think JJ would just outright go ahead and start Smart no matter what, no matter the contract of Rui and Rui being here a few years, and or just see how the training camp battle goes, or does Luca's recruitment matter here as well, as he's
Yeah.
asked for Marcus Smart? Does that help? I'm really not sure, but
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Like the fact that like Luca's actively tried to land him. Like I wonder if that
mm,
has a little bit of sway in it. I could certainly see JJ waiting till like after training camp to decide what the starting lineups will be. I'm pretty sure the media is going to be asking JJ like what his
oh yeah,
starting lineups are probably going to be to see if they can figure that part out. Um, but like I'm with you. He doesn't have to start. I would just like to see. I think the fit would be make a little bit more sense in terms of mentality. Just what you can get out of Marcus Smart. But again, his health is certainly an issue. I wouldn't be shocked if Smart starts. I also wouldn't be shocked if Rui is still starting for exactly what you said. There's just a level of continuity with that lineup, and it's not like it was a bad lineup necessarily. It just wasn't. There was like three guys that were like the same size, and we needed one of those guys to be able to kind of chase people around. And didn't make sense for Austin to be that guy. He's not really equipped for it to be like a stopper defensively. So you could be right. They might just go with it and just be like, look, we're winning games in the regular season doing this. We're just going to keep doing that, and then work the new guys in, and until it gets broken.
do you think this is different from Dorian? Because obviously, Dorian was kind of peddled as he should be starting. The lineups and the numbers all kind of told you that Dorian was the
Mm-hmm.
better fit. And obviously, Dorian eventually did start, not for who we thought, but he
Yeah.
came in and started for Jackson Hayes. But in any case, do you see Smart different than Dorian? Because obviously, JJ loved Dorian, and at least his tweets and podcast
Mm-hmm.
audios all kind of echoed a love for Dorian Finney-Smith, but that never entered a starting lineup. Dorian did
Interesting.
not, I believe, start until the playoffs, or maybe he started a few regular season games. I
think
can't
maybe when
100%.
Rui got hurt, I think he had a knee injury after the Knicks game or something like that. Is when Dorian started. Yeah.
And but yeah, do you find the Smart, I guess, having more? I don't know about cachet is the way I'll put it, but would JJ be more willing to start Smart than he was with Dorian last season?
I remember him saying that the reason why he liked Dorian so much was because he was a good defensive quarterback. Like he had like a defensive energy to him that helped the rest of the lineup, especially the communication. Helped him out. I wonder if that'll be the reason. If he swaps out Rui for Smart, it'll be for that reason. Like he'll say that's the reason why we think that he's a good defensive balance to whatever it is. That's an interesting point because he did like Dorian a lot, but even then he didn't pull Rui from the lineups.
Yeah.
But I wonder year 2, JJ, who knows? Like maybe he's kind of learned from like the experience in the playoffs. Like you can't just stick to whatever your philosophy is. You can't just double down on playing small and just not play a center at all. You have to be willing to adjust to whatever it is that is going on around you or going on with your roster and stuff like that. And for rookie head coach, JJ did a fabulous job. But there's clearly some things where he's a little headstrong in his beliefs that required some softening of his stance.
Yeah, and the chat's mentioned Dorian was a small ball center. That's correct. Smart is a different position. He's a small forward guard, I guess. So you can kind of say the positioning is different, but he'd be taking the same player's spot basically, because obviously none of the other guys. He's not starting over anyone else in that starting unit. So there's only one guy he can take. He can take his job, and that's Rui. So I just find that interesting. Rui is in, I think Japan, or he's overseas right now,
somewhere.
Enjoying life as a
sumo training. I think was like the last video he posted that I saw him in. He was doing some training with sumo wrestlers or something.
Yeah, he knows who to shadow for sure. I remember there was a summer where he was shadowing LeBron the whole time, and there was some Karate Kid I guess references to there, and has now hitched to Luka Doncic, and
Rui's marketing team. They're on top of it, bro. they're on top of like making sure he's in the right spots. But yeah, so it'll be interesting. I think Ayton will be an interesting thing. If they add another defensive piece, will be an interesting thing. And then obviously, like what happens with some of these lineup machinations will be very interesting to see as well. There's a few questions we had, Raj, that I thought maybe we should jump into because we're approaching the last 20 minutes, 15 minutes of the episode. Yeah. We had a couple of mailbag questions that got submitted on the timeline that I thought we should some great questions that I thought we should ask. Did you want to say something?
Oh no, let's go. Okay. The last thing I want to say, there was a video of LeBron taking catch and shoot threes, and it was just imagine is he turning into a spot up shooter? God, I love August. It's just August.
I can't wait. I can't wait for like I won't even say it. Anyways, before we get to the questions from Twitter, I do want to ask a question that was presented in the Discord, which I thought was a really great question from the Detailers Club. As you folks know, if you'd like to support the pod, you can do that through YouTube. You can join the Detailers Club. If you join it, send me a message. Tell me you've joined it. Show me a screenshot, like send a little screenshot of you joining, and I can add you to the Discord. That's really where we have some of our conversations, especially me with all the other folks at the Detailers Club. As you guys know, Raj is a very busy man, being friends with Kevin Durant, and I'm a busy man with my job. So we don't post pods constantly every day, but we do have conversations constantly, and it usually happens in the Discord. So if you'd like to join, you're always welcome to. But there was a great question that came out of the Discord earlier this week, which was, what do you expect to see as an improvement from JJ Redick? How are you rating JJ Redick? Like how are you evaluating him in this next upcoming season? What would you like to see from him?
Yeah, I mean, I think in the regular season, I thought he did, as well as he could. Had a team, upended basically at the mid part. Didn't have a training camp with Luka, and I thought he did the best he could. And I think in the playoffs kind of revealed, why it's tough for rookie head coaches to win. It's just, there's a level of experience that's needed as much as JJ has had and has been in locker rooms, has been with coaches. It's different when you're the one holding, the clipboard and deciding kind of every rotation. And I think that stuff you'll learn. And seems like a guy that Vinay, I think he's a guy that really knows how to use time to his advantage. So when he has, 3 months or whatever the off season is to really, prepare for the following year, I think he'll use that wisely. And I think he'll be more prepared than he was last season, where I think he was signed right before Summer League. I can't remember the exact date, but I'm pretty sure it was late into the off season that, JJ, was signed on. So yes, he's a fellow sicko, I would say, um, in in a good manner. But yeah, I don't know. In a regular season, I think it's tough. But I think he'll have at least a training camp with the roster that should be somewhat whole. Maybe some tweaks at the deadline. I think both of us don't expect some huge move. Again, the only question left is LeBron's pending decision, or cloud that's kind of, it's not a rainy cloud, but it's still a cloud that's kind of hanging over all of this. But
Yeah.
other than that,
I saw ESPN post a quote, and then I saw like every Laker fan respond like, "Dude, this story again, and I was just like, oh, okay, I think ESPN's gonna be like, okay, we can't keep rehashing the story because Laker fans are getting kind of pissed. So I was just like, just wait, it's gonna come back day one when the first game happens. That's the first question. It's gonna be the first question you get. It's not over yet.
oh yeah, oh no, it has the snowball just left the hill. It is it is picking up snow.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of what I'm looking at. A little bit more maybe cohesion in the regular season. More willing to play big lineups, more willing to kind of tweak with things and not be so kind of one track minded on 5-out spacing, or and all that stuff. But has the roster for it. We'll see how his inclination is with Ayton, and his patience is with Ayton. He has a better team now, and should be improved going into year 2. What are you looking for from JJ?
Definitely flexibility, like his flexibility as a coach, like him being willing to do different stuff. Like you said, not stick to just 5-out or 4-out lineups. Maybe he has to play two bigs, not two bigs, but like two bigger dudes like Jackson Hayes and DeAndre Ayton at the same time, something like that. Being willing to do different stuff as the time calls for it. But I will say this: the one thing I would like to see, that I would kind of measure, not just him, obviously, because the players have to execute themselves as well. We know that we know that NBA players can play down to the competition depending on which teams they play. So it's never always on the coaches, even though the coaches tend to take the blame for it. With I didn't get them prepared or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to see, for the teams that we're expected to beat, more quality wins. I don't want us to see us, unless the players themselves are sandbagging, I don't want to see us in rock fights with teams we shouldn't be in rock fights against. Especially if it's a scheme thing. Like he's sticking to a player who clearly doesn't have it tonight and not going with the guy who's performing better. And obviously, you and I are very acutely aware of the human element of basketball. You don't want to lose that guy and bench him because of a game. So I'm not saying that kind of situation. I'm saying more like there's a guy who's just been a complete brick off the bench all night, and he doesn't have to play in the fourth quarter, even though he has a normal rotation in the fourth quarter. That sort of stuff. Like I'd like to see, I think that leads to better quality wins at the end of games and doesn't turn into like absolute painful endings.
I'd be super interested. Obviously, I think JJ is gonna live and breathe this stuff, as we do. But I'd love to see what he comes up with as the balance between a LeBron and Luka team. Obviously, Austin's in there as well, but I'm so fascinated by that, Vinay, because if you go watch, if you watch Luka, in overseas, like a Luka team is a Luka team. Like he's bringing it up, he's running pretty much all the actions when he's on the floor. But I'd be super interested in how a LeBron and Luka with a full training camp are able to implement all the plays that he wants. Right, no more excuse of we didn't have time, we didn't have practices, yada yada. All that's gone. You have a full training camp, preseason to set up what you want to do. With LeBron and Luka together, and Austin within that as well. I'd just be fascinated to see what they come up with, because I think last year it was a lot of turn-based stuff, and I think that's kind of what happens when you play 5-out as well, when teams are able to kind of switch everything against you. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for, mainly, I guess, from just an execution X's and O's standpoint. just something where Luka and LeBron are involved together. Like they don't screen for each other. It's very much one person running something and the other person watching. And I'd love to see them kind of work together. But
Yeah.
that's kind of my main goal from JJ this season.
Yeah. Andrew asked a question on Twitter. Do you think that we'll do less switching? I'm paraphrasing. I don't want to read the whole thing because it's a very detailed question, but just paraphrasing for the sake of time. He's asking, do we switch our defensive scheme? Does he make the adjustment and do less switching with this new roster?
Oof. I think you can't switch with DeAndre Ayton, but I would expect 1 through 4 to still switch.
Okay. Yeah.
Am I wrong in that?
No,
Luka.
I think maybe one guy, like if Austin's the chaser, like if they stick with the same lineup, Austin's still going to be in that chasing the guard around role, but you might just see switching. It might just be, I think we'll be better equipped to handle those switches because Luka's in better shape and Braun is good. And hopefully too, actually a little bit. So maybe that too, but we might still see some of that perimeter switching that we saw beforehand.
Does Luka's weight drop change his defensive role to you?
I don't think it changes his defensive role. It just changes his defensive ability. I think he'll still be defending the same type of guys.
Really? You still put him on 4s, you would say, and still have him?
Yeah, because Braun just can't do it. Like, Braun can't chase.
No.
Like, he's like a low man 4.
Sure.
So is Rui. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I don't know. I'm curious to see what they'll do in regards to that. So
yeah,
if you play a team that has a dynamic backcourt, so let me think. Who has a dynamic backcourt in the Western Conference? Okay, so James Harden and Bradley Beal.
Okay.
Luka has to guard one of those two. You have to. He's probably guarding Harden. Harden's a bigger player, so Luka's gonna have to guard.
Luka's on Harden. Harden will probably seek that out. I'm guessing. So like that's probably the matchup he wants. I probably put Smart on Harden, I guess.
But that's only if Smart starts. I'm talking about like your starting unit, your core.
I see.
Now, if you're starting Smart, then yeah, this is not an issue. You can do Smart, Austin, very easy. Now I think everybody slots him better. But if you look at all the dynamic backcourts, like you're gonna have Shea and Jalen. Luka's got to guard one of those guys. You can't put Braun, you can't put Rui on those guys. Houston has what? Amen Thompson and Fred Van Vliet. Vliet, you could probably put Luka on him, but Austin's not stopping Amen Thompson. So like now you're running into that issue now. You know what I'm saying? Like we can go down the list.
Yeah,
so I'm curious to see if they have to just go to switching because it's the only way to prevent some of the issues that they have communication wise defensively.
Maybe I'm just Hail Marying here, but I'm hoping the weight loss at least moves him to an average defender where he can more guard his position, even if it's not like obviously you don't want Luka chasing John Morant around, but can he chase twos? Like, can he stay on 2 guards who don't have as much offensive wiggle to them? I'd hope he can, because I think last year he was could only guard 4s, right? And that was extremely problematic in a Minnesota series where could not laterally move with anyone other than Julius Randle. And so and Julius Randle went to town as well, doing other things jump shot wise, and Julius had an amazing series, but I just interested to see if like the weight loss, because he looks extremely different to me. People are trying to tell me, Vinay, that there's no change. I don't know why people have to be so contrarian to that point, to a point, but he looks incredibly different.
It's like the DeAndre Ayton thing. It's just like, I think like if Ayton had signed with anybody else for free, people would be like, whoa, that's a steal. But because he's wearing a Laker jersey, people are like, nah, like, dude, the initial like 24-hour analysis of Ayton signing to the Lakers was just like, yeah, he's all right. Nah, I don't know how much he's gonna. I was just like, have you guys watched what our center rotation was last year, bro? We were relying on trade. No offense to those guys, but like I know you love Christian Coloco, but I was like, bro, we had like 2 G League centers. Like, do you understand what a starting level center means to the Lakers? And so it's just, I wonder if there's a little bit of that. Like, Luka's wearing a Laker jersey now, and like everybody's just like, oh, he lost weight, oh, big deal. He's gonna get fat again by October, or like, I mean, like people are just like saying different stuff. So it's just
my favorite one was George mentioned in the chat, but I think was it Mavericks Brazil or something like that. Like he did it. He said it in Portuguese, but like one of the words was fakers. Like, what do you? What did I do to deserve that? I just posted a before and after picture. But no, I think the weight loss has an impact. We'll see how it impacts him defensively. There's some video of him picking up full quarter and stuff in Slovenia on his team, but I'd be interested to see if that connects. I think Luka's just a competitive dude. Like, he's a guy when you're actually going at him is when he locks in defensively, similarly to Harden in that way. But yeah, I'd be interested if he can at least guard his position. Because you're right. If you're looking at those starters, that's a tough place to put perimeter guys on. Rui, LeBron, Luka. That really leaves you with Austin on the other team's best perimeter scorer. And so I think that's why both of us come to the conclusion that Smart should start. But yeah, I'm hoping the weight loss has other domino effects than just speed on the offensive end. So we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Ike asked, what changes or improvements offensively can Luka make to make his teammates better while not losing his dominance? So one of the examples he gives, which is the one that we should probably focus on, is how much of the shot clock he uses. I think that's actually a good suggestion. I'll take it first. I think he can get to his stuff faster. I do agree with that. I think he dances around probably because of his conditioning, and he wasn't really beating guys off the dribble as easily. I think it's not so much the shot clock, but just the efficiency. I think your body over the course of a game, you lose the game of attrition when you have to use a bunch of double moves and triple moves to try and get a shot off into a step back jump shot. So if he's playing faster or with more pace, which allows him to get easier shots off or easier shots for his teammates, I think that could certainly help. He's already a world-class passer, so he's already helping his teammates significantly as it is. So I don't think he can really do much more there, but for the sake of himself, he can make his life easier by being more efficient with some of the stuff he does.
This is where we didn't talk about this with Ayton, but so last year with the Lakers, you could switch against them, and I think Luka's conditioning had a part in this. His drives have been down, Vinay, as the weight has gained, and his step back three has gained success. He's able to settle more. But you can't switch against DeAndre Ayton. That's a totally different thing than switching against Jackson Hayes, right? You can't leave, I don't know, name your small Western Conference guard on DeAndre Ayton versus leaving them on Jackson Hayes, where you can kind of live with the Jackson Hayes post up, right? I think I've saw 5 Jackson Hayes hook shots, and that's enough in my lifetime. But DeAndre Ayton's an extremely skilled big man, and I think that'll kind of help the offensive as well. But I'm hoping for more drives. His free throw rate has been down, especially on drives. His and one rate was down, and so that's stuff that I think that can increase. I'm just interested in seeing Luka Doncic with speed. Can't imagine it. We've got one Slovenia game. I think he's supposed to play either today or tomorrow in the next game. I'm not sure what time that game's at, but yeah, I'm interested to see if speed kind of helps him. The shot clock thing is interesting. I don't know if that's him just taking his time on switches or
hunting the switch, maybe
hunting the switch. Yeah, again, just not having a pick and roll partner. I think
that could be it too. Yeah,
hurt him in that manner where he had to take a lot of isolation shots because when you're playing 5 out, I think that's something that can happen. So we'll see if that improves. And again, I'm hoping JJ kind of implements a little bit more, offense that can kind of help the team other than just, all right, Luka, it's your turn. LeBron, is your turn. All right, Austin, it's your turn. Have some kind of cohesion with those big three. But yeah, I think the conditioning and all that, will help him and not be exhausted after, first halves. He had a 30-point first half and then have 10 in the second or something like that where he extremely slow down. So I think all those would be a factor for sure.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I think that stuff will have a compounding effect on the team in general. Last question we have from Bashir. He says that I rewatch y'all Luka trade stream back every once in a while because I was having that moment with you guys when it went down. I love that we are like etched. That stream is like etched into like some sort of like Laker fan lore now, because I have people who always mention it to me, finding us in through that stream. And he's saying that he feels like he was part of that moment with us when it went down because we were live streaming. He goes, "What's the feeling of that trade now that it's fully settled in?" And mind you, Luka's, we haven't talked about it because it happened between things. Or no, I think we talked about it in the last one.
We did talk about
his
it.
extension. Yeah, he signed his extension too at the same time.
Yeah. It's cool seeing like Brian Windhorst kind of say that on the Bill Simmons show. I thought that was just amazing for it to reach those levels. And but no, it still feels surreal. I still don't think people, when they understand the scope of what happened, I don't think they understand what they got. The conversations I see Luka Doncic being put in, or the conversation around him, I forgot who we were having this conversation about. So I think there was a player. Oh, it was, if LeBron went to Dallas, he'd be the third best Dallas Maverick ever, or something like that. You know, some conversation. Luka Doncic would be the best player like 20 franchises have ever had. I'm talking about ever had.
Ever, yeah.
That's how good this guy is. And he's 26 or 27 in the prime of his life. You saw the Dallas fans' reaction. Those guys understand what happened. But I still don't feel like the people on this side have completely kind of settled into what they got. Maybe that's this season that they get it. Maybe because Luka was out of shape, or whatever the reasoning was, and the way they were bounced out the playoffs. But this is just super. It's just rare that a player like this changes teams. Doesn't happen. It's not supposed to happen. The CBA is directly created so this type of stuff doesn't happen. Every single team in the history, in my opinion, of this league would have given Luka Doncic the supermax money that he was asking for. That's just how this league works. Yeah, I just knew how insane that was, and which is why during that stream I continued on to break down a Knicks Laker game, because I absolutely had zero belief that this was occurring. Zero, absolutely none. I just said,
we spent 10 minutes trying to come up with different ways that it was fake. So
yes,
it ended up being real. So I'm with you. I think it was a very surreal experience at the time, and then we got half a season, then we got a first round of playoffs, and I feel like we got a lot of stuff in a lot of the experience, different parts, highs and lows of the experience in a short period of time. And I think now we're at a place where it's like, okay, he's extended, he's here. There's no concern about long-term fit, all that sort of stuff. We've made trades, or not trades, we've made moves, that sort of stuff. Obviously, we're not probably exactly to where we want to be as a team going into the regular season, but there's still a lot of time left. And now we get to see like what a full experience looks like, a full training camp with him, and what the team looks like around him in better shape and whatnot.
My last question for you on this, because I think this is kind of been the thing that's been interesting to me and hasn't really been talked about. But when that trade happened, most of the conversation was, well, they still have to convince him to stay, right?
Yes.
They have to convince Luka Doncic to stay a Laker. And I guess one of the things I don't know about if like shocked, but a little surprised is how quickly Luka kind of put himself with the Lakers, speaking about us with Jeannie and Rob, and I don't know, just ingratiated himself in LA. Did you expect that to happen this quickly? I didn't expect it to be that soon, I guess, for him to just immediately, I don't know, just say all the things, and saying like, speaking about bringing multiple championships here, and just that's the stuff that I think is interesting, that he's already kind of moved past. And obviously he signed his deal, a 2-year extension, before he can get the balloon max that's coming in whenever time that is. But yeah, I just, when that trade happened, I was obviously not thinking about any of that, but I think it's interesting that now we're already at the point where Luka's done the one criticism of his career was his weight, and he cut that off in these 5 months he's been here.
Yeah.
I didn't expect all that to occur so quickly. So.
Yeah, I'm not shocked that he's embraced the team. I will say probably the shock is, I don't know if shocking is the right word, or
Mhm.
like refreshing, or I don't know. I don't know what the word is to use. It's definitely a positive one, but I can't figure out what it is. But we live in such a player centric,
Mm.
like the NBA audience and coverage is so player centric that you don't it's always on the player no matter what. Like everything is always about the player, right? And I feel like you don't this is one of those things that I think, well, you and I always tell people to go watch, like if you get an opportunity to watch a Lakers game or just watch any NBA game in person, you should really go watch it, especially if your favorite players play. Why? Like it's the way he's embraced the
Mm.
team and the city. Like everything has been, I love Los Angeles. I love the fans. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful for the organization. I'm grateful for the owner. Lakers, 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 Lakers. There's no mention of himself. I'm here to win you a championship. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want my jersey retired. I want a statue. There's none of that. It's just Lakers, 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 Lakers. Like I love the people of LA. You guys have been so warm and welcome to me. Like it's always outside of him. It's not him. It's about how he feels about you. And there is something to that, because I think the media wants him to be like, I have this chip on my shoulder,
Mhm.
right? Like, oh, you guys call me fat and I'm out here for, like, we're saying, oh, Luka's out here for revenge, but he's not saying that. Luka's like, I'm happy here to be a Laker. Like, I'm happy that Laker fans support me. I'm happy for Leo. Like, and I believe it. Like, it doesn't seem fake to me because I've seen him interact with the crowd at games. Like, he gets in, like, he enjoys
Yes.
playing basketball to the point where when you're watching him, you're enjoying with him. That's a very special trait to have as a player. Like,
Yeah.
and it's not like, it's a very silly analogy, but it's like there's no degrees of separation when he plays basketball. He
Mhm.
almost seems like he'll walk right out into the crowd and start celebrating a win with you. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and that's a very endearing quality that he has, and that's the feeling that he's given off
Yeah.
since he's been here. And I think that is like very cool because the player's not making himself bigger than the fan base or the organization or the city. He's like, no, I'm just one of you guys. I just get paid a lot of money to play basketball, so that's all it is. So I think that's
Yeah.
very cool. I think that's a very refreshing thing with him that we haven't had in a while.
Yeah, I got in some strange online trouble for speaking about the relationship of Luca and the fans, but there really is this like connection, right? And that doesn't mean there's not connection with other players. It's just it's so interesting to watch a guy like Luca in LA. I was at I think his fourth or fifth home game, and already you could tell there was this just bond created with him and the fan base. And you're right, he'll go and talk. Like if you talk during his free throw, he'll look at you and like like he'll. It's such an interactive experience.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's overboard, right? Sometimes you're just like Luca, like focus, like
Focus, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, run back on defense. Like you can't be talking to a dude talking crap to you, at the free throw line. But yeah, it's definitely this interactive kind of experience that he makes it. And it's funny because he's so quiet off the court, but
Mm.
you watch him on the court and he's extremely there's no emotion left behind. Like every
Yes.
emotion that he has is shown and lives on his face. But yeah, I just find that all interesting. And we're a few months from that, that stream where we found out live. I'm still in the just. I feel like I'm the weird one because I'm the one that's continuing going. Do you guys do you understand what just so he made 5 first team All NBAs since he was 19 years old.
Yeah.
Made first team All NBA his second year in the league. Like he's breaking records of like he has beat Michael Jordan's scoring like playoff average. Like this is not a normal. This isn't people treat him like again, one of my favorite players ever is Damian Lillard. Like love Dame, prime Dame. But people treat Luka like a regular all-star
Yeah.
like guard. This is a generational of generational talents that goes number one among a lot of other. He was traded for another generational talent. And that's how stupid this trade is people look at this and going, that's all they got was Anthony Davis. And they're right.
Like, no, he's also pretty good. But yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think people don't understand what they have yet. And maybe this season they'll see. So
I mean, I won't be shocked, Raj, if by like December or January, people are like, hey, this team is probably not fair. Like, I'm not like, and you think people hearing this might think I'm exaggerating. Like, wait, if DeAndre Ayton does what I think he's capable of doing, and I'm not talking about like the upper ceiling, upper percentile of what I think he's capable of doing. I think if he's able to do even like 60 to 70% of what I think his potential is, people are going to be very pissed that we got him for nothing. Like, and it's going to be very funny to watch, but we'll see. We'll see what happens, Raj. Like, I think that Luka moment is very cool. I think it was very cool for us to have that experience. Again, we could have done a post game of that Knicks game. It finished earlier in the day, but we just have a regular schedule at 8:30 at night. And I was just like, yeah, we'll just stick to our regular schedule. I just lucked out, and the news broke at the same time when that happened. Go ahead.
I'm glad Ashan noticed this because I was absolutely bewildered during that whole thing and just could not keep a straight face. I knew the first moment how stupid and absurd this trade was. And so I'm glad that's shown off in the stream. And I think that's why it has such replay value because both of us, like Vinay, with your like, oh God, it is real. Like that. Like
that was all real, dude. I was just like, what?
That is just yeah. So
yeah. I think Raj and I say it all the time. Or I know I certainly say it all the time. Like when we do these streams, this is quite literally me and Raj having a conversation about Lakers basketball. Like there's no presentation notes, none of that. Like we want people to feel like we're having conversations like we would in a room after a game or something like that if we were all hanging out. And that's what happened that night. We were literally just having a conversation. The news broke. And so that is very cool for that to happen. Raj, any last thoughts before we let the folks go?
I think that's it. I don't know. Any other news has jumped off. I've been pretty offline for the last few days. So
minus the Katie stuff, obviously.
Minus the Katie, yes.
Yeah. No, but there hasn't really been any other news, outside of the scheduled drop release. But if anything does come up, we'll certainly do it. You're out of town for the weekend, so we did our stream tonight, so we won't do Sunday night, and then hopefully we get some more news. Maybe get some not training camp, but get some information. But again, these are the dog days of August. It's going to be a little quiet. I think NFL season's on the horizon. Baseball's going on right now. So I think a lot of people are going to be looking forward to that.
Yeah, get your Peacock subscription. Get your Amazon subscription. What else?
Ridiculous.
Make sure you have ESPN.
Yeah, somebody shared that graphic. I was like, bro, I can't keep track of all this. Like, I'm not gonna know what channel.
Just get Spectrum Sportsnet. You're good. You should be fine. I think most of the games. So
it's gonna be ridiculous. But anyways, folks, we appreciate you guys joining us on this Friday night, catching up on Laker news, catching up on life with Raj and his newfound celebrity on Twitter, and we hope you guys had a good one. We'll see what other news comes out, but I think this cadence of just once a week, maybe once every other week, unless there's some news that comes up, is probably good. We don't want to blast you with just any content and rehash the same stuff over and over again. So we want to keep it productive. So we'll continue to see what the Lakers continue to do. If they decide to make any news, any rumors come up, we'll certainly discuss it. But if nothing else, we hope you guys are having a wonderful day or a wonderful evening when you end up listening to this. And if nothing else, we'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy.
Peace.